Friends, there has been a de-escalation in the military face-off that was happening between India and China at Leh from Galwan onwards. Then there have been skirmishes also which have been happening in the last 4 years. But then there have been many flag meetings starting from the corps commanders down to the ground level company commanders, diplomatic talks between the external affair ministries of both the sides, and then there was a on the sideline meeting between Xi Jinping and our Prime Minister during the BRICS summit at Kazan. And I think the ice has been broken because there has been de-escalation, and on the National Unity Day, that was 31st of October, there was patrolling that took place at Demchok and Depsang. So now the Indian and Chinese troops have started patrolling along the line of actual control, that is the LAC, in eastern Ladakh after a gap of 4 years, marking a massive de-escalation in border tensions sparked by the deadly clashes that took place between the two sides in 2020. The soldiers patrolled areas in Depsang and Demchok on 31st of October after informing the other side and exchanged sweets on Diwali. Patrolling had stopped in these areas in eastern Ladakh for about 4.5 years after the deadly clashes at Pangong Lake and Galwan areas in May-June 20, which led to the death of 20 soldiers and an equal amount of Chinese soldiers. The militaries agreed to a patrolling agreement last week aiming to end the 4 years of border tension. The disengagement deal called the removal of troops and infrastructure from both these areas to pre-prepared positions pre-April 2020. And also, there are talks on for disengagement at Chulmaldo, Daulat Beg Oldi, the airstrip that was there in Ladakh. And now we are cross-checking with satellite pictures and also the ground reports whether the troops on the Chinese side have really disengaged and gone back, because there is a lack of faith in them. So this Depsang area is of strategic importance to India as it allows access to the airstrip at Daulat Beg Oldi, which was preventing troops from threatening vital logistic centers in the area. India controls the western part of Demchok, which is claimed by China. Satellite images of the disengagement process showed 4 vehicles and 2 tents in the Depsang plains, and 4 days later, images showed Indian military tents had been taken down and Chinese structures were being seen to be removed in Demchok. So, as per our defense minister, this disengagement goes beyond this and is trying to be one of the pillars of trust between both the countries and also a step towards mutual understanding. So this is a significant achievement for Delhi post 2020, and the establishment of blockades at the 6 points and massing of troops at the border had been a sore point between the two nations, and it was causing a lot of heartburns in Delhi and also Beijing. So diplomatic talks were on and ties were being softened, and then the meeting between the two premiers created a bonhomie situation. And in this way, and by applying military pressure, by occupying the Kailash heights overlooking the Spangpur So spur, New Delhi managed to resolve 4 of the 6 blockade points by July 2022, and these points were transformed into buffer zones where neither sides would patrol. 2 blockades in the Depsang Ball and the Charding Nala in Demchok proved more difficult for 2 years. Talks between the military and the civil officials did not yield any results. Then suddenly, a few months ago, things changed, and after a flurry of diplomacy, we have agreed to a settlement and a deal that the blockade points be opened up and the troops disengage and go back to the old positions. So the statements from the capital signal that China and India have managed to resolve the issue at the Depsang Bulge and the Charding Nala, and the deal was announced on 21st of October, which appears to be a multi-layered one which is likely to be rolled out in various phases. And as a first step, as brought out by our External Affairs Minister during a summit in New Delhi, he said that disengagement process with China has been completed and will be followed up in various phases so that there is a warm, cordial relation between the two nations. And so let us see and watch how this detailed agreement outlining the modalities of the disengagement and the patrolling along this area is done and will be concluded at the Corps Commander level meeting, which will be held in due course of time, and these blockades by the Chinese will be lifted so that coordinated patrolling can happen as a continuous affair in times to come. And there are also reports that Chinese have really started taking down prefabricated sheds and tents, and they are moving back their vehicle and troops, and that is the posture as on 28th or 29th of October before the coordinated patrolling began. And the blockaded places by China was the Sangpo North Bank, the PP-17-1 near Gogra Post, the Gogra Hot Springs area of PP-15, the Galwan River that is at the PP-14, and the Y Junction in Depsang Bal and the Charding Nala. So these points of blockades are being thawed out, and slowly the blockades are being taken off, and the complete agreement of the disengagement, like I told you, is being worked out in the consequent Corps Commander level conclaves that will take place between the two nations. So with this, both the countries have started a process of peace and tranquility. And also, there are series of confidence building agreements that are going to take place in the near future so that both the countries have cordial relations. But then we will have to watch very keenly on how the Chinese disengage, because there are always iota of doubts in their actions. So let us keep watching how the whole disengagement and the coordinated patrolling takes place in the future. So keep sharing this video and also subscribe it to know what happens in the future in this whole ball game between India and China. Jai Hind.